Nathan, I just tested this brand new Mercedes Coupe from 0 to 60 and it went a shade above 7 seconds, up here at a mile above sea level. That was impressive.
That is impressive. You know what else is impressive?
Yes.
It is damn sexy. I mean, I'd look like a pimp driving this.
You would look good driving that, but there's one question we have yet to answer.
Does it drive as good as it looks?
And that, my friends, is coming up next on the Fast Lane Car. All right guys, so under the hood is a 3.5 liter V6 that's mated to a 7-speed automatic transmission. It puts out 302 horsepower and 273 pound-foot of torque. You can't see it because it's hidden by this plastic cover. I guess the coolest thing under the hood are these little scoops for the air intakes. Otherwise, it's a typical modern engine that is efficient, is fast, but invisible at the same time.
This car is so above my head when it comes to class. It actually makes me feel good because I love looking at it and I could never dream of owning it. That's a good thing for you guys out there who are interested in this car, especially when you look at the front end. The new sophisticated lighting system up front, LEDs and everything else, oh, beautiful. And it goes all along the side. It actually has the same silhouette as the old E series. But if you come over here, this is huge. Look at this line, how it traces upwards. It is so classy, kind of has like a Bentley feel to it. And the rear end, Roman and I are kind of looking at it two different ways. I think it's classy, he thinks it's kind of boring, but you know what? Mwah! It deserves that because that is a nice German ass.
You look good, Nathan.
Thank you.
And this will be a car for you when you're retired tour. San Francisco, is that where you want to go to?
Yeah, one of my favorite cities. You know, Northern California, Hawaii,
and
Detroit.
Especially with the all-wheel drive, it's a car you can drive in San Francisco and here in Colorado, given the right tires.
This is really a car for guys or gals who are going to golf when they retire. They want a really big panoramic roof, and they want the sophistication of something that rides like this. It's such a wonderful car. Just creamy, smooth. Makes me feel like I'm worth something.
Yeah, I mean, the three words I would use are smooth,
yes.
Number one, sexy,
yes,
especially from the outside, and silky.
Really?
Yeah.
I would use the word elegant. I think elegant is, you know, when you look it up in the dictionary of automotive,
you get a picture
dumb,
of
this should be there. And I know that there's a bigger engine available, and I know that there's a sportier version available. I'm not referring to those. I'm referring to this car the exact way it is with this V6, which is what, 302 horsepower, right?
Yes.
That's not a ton when you're talking about a relatively large German car, but it's enough. It's enough in this car to really scoot it along, and it has such a confident edge about it.
The interior of the Mercedes is very old school, and what I mean by that is traditional. There's a lot of fine wood here. There's a lot of interesting textures, expensive looking parts and buttons. It's like Nathan just said, you feel like there is a special occasion when you get inside the Mercedes. Having said that, some of it's a little too traditional. The screen's too small, these little goofy buttons on the side, I don't get, they feel like they're from 1990. But overall, when you sit in the thing, you feel like you've spent a lot of money and you feel like you're rewarded for that. Nathan, this Mercedes competes with cars like the Audi A5, and they're all pretty tight, but it's exceptionally tight back here.
Yeah, the roof slopes back really, really rapidly here, so if you're over 5'9", I would imagine you'll have a problem with headroom. I can't get my hip. There we go. Oh, Tommy, you mean little man.
That's
See, it's
a nice
not
feature.
stopping.
It's a nice feature.
No, it's a bad feature. See here?
Oh, look, it hit your...
and then it moved forward a little bit.
Yeah, the Germans figure these things out.
Yeah, but there's a problem.
Yeah?
My feet are now stuck underneath. I can't really move them.
You know what the best thing about being in the back seat is?
What?
Getting out of it.
Get out of it. Oh. Move forward. Move, I say. It's healthy sounding, but it certainly isn't exactly awe-inspiring. Let me show you something else too. For a $63,000 car, you still have to push the key fob into the starter. When you're going through corners, you feel like, okay, I don't want to push it too much, but when you do, it still grabs. That all-wheel drive, magnifique.
Yeah, and the ride comfort is just almost perfectly dialed in, right? It's not too hard, not too soft. It's got that magic German ability to convey what the road is doing without conveying the harshness of the bumps or of the cracks from the winter snow. You know, it's really amazing how the Germans can dial a car in that precisely.
Well, especially by having, this is a regular suspension. There is no button where you're going to be able to push it and go to some sort of comfort mode. It doesn't exist in this car. It is what it is, as is, and I like that. I like the fact that it is so easy to work with and it's already perfectly modulated. Folks, I want to show you something very interesting back here. Not only are you able to fit about 2 golf bags in here, but pulling these handles, you can actually lower the back seats. Not all cars do that in this class. In this particular case, you can get a cross between a human being and a giraffe in the back, if you notice, right there. There is some good room back here. So if you can't sit in the back, at least you might be able to fit in the back. And you know what? Roman and I discussed this recently. There are very few cars that can pull off the color white and look really, really good. This is one of them. This is one of them, by far. It is a very pretty car in white. And actually another car that's very, very pretty in white is the A5. Interesting, because I think they compete with each other directly. And even though I would take an A5 over this just a little tiny bit, partially because, well, there's a manual option, I still think that this is just a terrific car. Feel it, just that surge. So perfectly torque. Effortless torque. Effortless torque, yeah. And it's not a torque monster either. I mean, it really doesn't have a ton of it. So I'm really impressed by it, and I love the all-wheel drive, and I love the steering weight. It's just right. Great car. Wonderful car to drive.
Nathan, when I first got into this Merc, it was a definite rented, but then the more I drove it, the more I fell in love with it. But I couldn't quite get to a buy it because, well, like there's that goofy stalk that serves as a drive lever. There's the fact that in the $63,000 car, you don't have a push start. So on the TFL scale of buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it, I'm gonna give it a lease it. How about you?
Well, I'm gonna go with what the 3 philosophers once said. You have to fight for your right to party, and this car parties. Look, I am below its class level, I get it, but when I'm in it, I'm better looking. Why? Because it's sexy, it's smooth, it drives nice. I mean, really, really nice. It's quick, it handles pretty good. I would still get an Audi A5 over this, but with that said, if I said to myself, hey, I have $63,000 and I really want a Mercedes, this would be the one I would buy.
You know, I sense a matchup coming up, this against the A5.
Ooh, if only.
As always, this is Roman
and Nathan
saying thanks for watching. Remember, subscribe for a new car video
every day.
Ciao.